Good evening and welcome to a Thursday night book chat here at Small Home Comforts. My name is Beth and I'm here in the book corner. And tonight I thought we would talk about iconic friendships in literature and just friendship in general in literature. And I thought I would start with a quote and then we'll go from there. On the road between homes of friends, grass does not grow. And that's a Norwegian proverb. I'm reading it out of Susan Branch's Distilled Genius, a collection of life-changing quotations right here. On the road between the homes of friends, grass does not grow. And I've always thought that that was such a lovely quote. And so I thought I would share that with you tonight. So if you are here, I would love to say hello to you. Just to say hi in the comments. And yeah, I would love to see you. I'd love to say hi. We will start with our tea as usual. So, let me know if you would like to, what kind of tea you're drinking, or sometimes you're drinking something else. Just let us know what you're cozying in with this evening. I have tonight in my mug the tea that we had in our winter book box here at Small Home Comforts, which is the Cozy Cottage tea. It's black tea with cinnamon chips, rose, linden, jasmine petals, blackberry leaves, a little bit of vanilla, perfect for what is still winter nights. I've been dreaming about spring, but I'm trying to be content in winter for just a little bit longer. We can hang on, right? We can hang on. So, I'm just seeing, hello, hello, hello. I see you guys coming in the comments here. Hold on just a minute. I'm trying to get everything going on. Okay, technology wise, you know how this goes. So, a sip of tea, warm tea tonight, and I'm going to come over and say hello to you in the comments this evening. I'm so glad to see everyone. Teresa is here. Hello, Teresa, and Ashley, and Martha, and Marilyn. Oh, it's so good to see everyone. Marina is here. Hello, Marina. And Megan is here. Happy Thursday book chat indeed. Mina is here. Hello, Mina. Welcome. And oh, we've got a new subscriber here from Idaho. Um, oh, thanks for loving the show. It's so fun to love these books together, right? You're in Hawaii right now. Ooh, that sounds lovely. How lovely is that? Marilyn is drinking hot chocolate tonight. Perfect for a February evening. Marina is trying out green tea with mango that I had last time. What, isn't that good? I only had one packet of it, but I saved it because I think I'm going to go get some more. It was so good. Melissa, hello, welcome. Nice to see you. I'm glad that you're here with us tonight. All right, did I miss anybody? No, I think I got everybody. Awesome. Let me check over on Instagram. Nope, I don't see anything over there. So this is everybody. Welcome. It's so nice to see you. I thought tonight that we could start with or that we could talk about friendships. So I know with Valentine's Day coming up, everybody wants to talk about romance and love stories and why I think that is wonderful. I thought let's do something just a little bit different tonight. Let's talk about friendship. You know, because there's love in friendship too, and there's such a wealth of literature on friendship. So I thought we could talk about iconic friendships in literature, kind of celebrate that with some of our favorites this evening. And then I have a couple book recommendations that have friendship at kind of the core of it that maybe you haven't heard of before, or maybe you have, and maybe just need a reminder to read little excerpts and all sorts of things. So I thought that we could settle in and just kind of celebrate some iconic friendships this evening. So if you weren't here right at the beginning, I kind of read a little proverb, a Norwegian proverb that says, "On the road between the homes of friends, grass does not grow." And that has always been a quote about friendship that I love. One time I drew. Now, I'm not an excellent drawer, but one time I drew my home, like a sketch of my home and a sketch of my friend's home, and put like no grass in between, but just like a little bit in the front. And I wrote in between the two sketches of homes, you know, this proverb, and gave it to her as a gift. So it was kind of a fun little friendship gift that I thought was unique and unique to us, which I don't know, something fun. So anyway, I got that quote out of Distilled Genius, which is by the wonderful Susan Branch. She has a whole chapter on friendships and quotations about friendships. So that was from the very first page, but all in her beautiful, wonderful style. Best friends and the son says stay is a charming word in a friend's vocabulary. So, amongst other things, lots of quotes about friendship in that one. So, that's what I thought we would start with. And then moving on, let's go to one of the most iconic friendships. Now, there could be a couple different friendships in this one, but we're going to specifically talk about the one because it has a most wonderful quote between the two friends, and that is Charlotte's Web by E.B. White, about the unlikely friendship between Wilbur the pig and Charlotte the spider. There's also Fern. Fern is a friend of Wilbur's, and there's some other friendships in here as well. But there's just something really beautiful between Wilbur and Charlotte in this one, and this is one of my favorite quotes from this book. Towards the end of the book, and Wilbur is talking to Charlotte, and he says, "Why did you do all this for me?" he asked. "I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you." "You have been my friend," replied Charlotte. "That in itself is a tremendous thing." And it's just such a heartwarming, beautiful story of two friends who, you know, live together in the barn amongst all the other barn animals and have a really special connection. And I thought, I love that quote, and I thought that would be a nice little highlight to talk about tonight. Megan is saying that she's drinking Bengal Spice. That's Megan's favorite, I think, on our Thursday night book chats. Says she is such a Susan Branch fan. She is just so wonderful. She has a whole book on friendship. It's called Girlfriends. I don't have it in my pile tonight, but another one. Friendship is so important to Susan Branch, and you can see it peppered throughout her books. So. All right. So after Charlotte and Wilbur, when we think about iconic friendships, we all know what we think of probably first, right? Even before Charlotte and Wilbur. And that has to be Anne and Diana. Of course, Anne and Diana. So I picked Anne of Avonlea because this is my favorite. I've told you this before. I found this vintage copy at a half price books, I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago or something, and I was so thrilled to get it. This is a Thrushwood book. So this is the edition. It's hard, it kind of shines as I hold it up. So it's hard to, but the dust jacket is falling apart, which is why it's covered in plastic. But it just has a plain cover if you take the dust jacket off, but it's not so shiny. But I love Anne of Avonlea specifically, and Anne of Green Gables is, of course, a classic. But the reason I love this one so much is not only because it is set in Avonlea, which is my favorite setting of all the Anne books, but also because I feel like Anne kind of mellows out in this one and really leans into her friendship. So, of course, I said Anne and Diana, but Anne and Gilbert also become friends in this book. There's a lot less, I feel like, her young kind of angst to get ahead and be the best and like all this that comes through in Anne of Green Gables kind of mellows out in this one. She still has her drive and her exuberance and all the things. In Anne of Avonlea, but she's matured to a point where she can really kind of enjoy and become a part of the culture of the town. And there's some really beautiful scenes with her and Diana's in together. And two particular that I love. One is when Anne and Diana walk through the forest during October, and Anne has to drink it all in, and they lose their way and find Miss Lavender's Echo Lodge. That's one of my favorite scenes in this one. But the other favorite scene is when They are going out. So they're part of the Avonlea, it's called the Avis, the Avonlea, oh, I forget what it was. It was an anagram for something, but it's like the Improvement Society, Avonlea Improvement Society or something. And they want to kind of garner the town's attention, to improve by painting the side of a barn or something like that, or painting the whole barn, or I think they wanted to change the color of the barn to make it easier and not an eyesore. And so was it that scene, or was it, I might get my scenes wrong. Anyway, there is a scene where Anne and Diana, I think now I've got the wrong scene, but anyway, Anne and Diana go out and they are in the carriage and they're going to look inside the house of somebody, and they're like peeping in the house, and Anne climbs up onto the roof and falls through, but only halfway. And because she like got on a rickety roof or something like that. Anyway, she falls through halfway. She's up to her waist, half hanging down into the shed, half up on the roof of the shed. And Diana, the best friend, she's trying to help Anne, and she runs in and she tries to pull Anne down by her legs, and Anne's like, "No, no, it hurts too much." So then she tries to like help her like the other way, and Anne's like, "No, I'm just gonna, I think we need to like get an axe or something to cut me out." And Diana's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go look for an axe." She can't find that. Of course, a thunderstorm comes up, and it's raining on Anne. And so Diana brings her, I can't remember if it's an umbrella or something to cover her head. And then she brings her, Anne has this, and then Diana goes and sits in the carriage, and they have to wait out this storm. And she sticks by her, she stays there, she's going to wait it out. And then because, because Anne is full of imagination, she's imagined a whole poem or a whole little story or whatever it was, that she remembered. So when the shower blows over, Aunt or Diana comes back over, and Diana goes, "Is everything okay, Anne? Are you okay?" And she goes, "Yes, I'm okay. But oh my goodness, I've had the most marvelous thought and I'm going to lose it. Can you bring me like a pen and a paper so that I can write this down?" So faithful Diana brings her the pen and the paper, and Anne's up on half up and half down writing her little her little it's just the best. It's just the best. It's not I think it's not the Avis Society. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's the she's going to get this Willowware platter or something like that. But at any rate, um, Anne and Diana's the most faithful friend. Anne and Diana together, one of the most iconic friendships, kindred spirits, bosom friends. We could not do a celebration of iconic friendships without Anne and Diana. So I had to bring that one out to talk about that one. Avonlea Village Improvement Society. Thank you, Rebecca. I could not remember what that V stood for. Um, and from Idaho, love Anne of Green Gables. She just got some parakeets and named them Anne and Gilbert. That's awesome. I used to want parakeets when I was young, and I never got them. They're such beautiful birds. Megan says that she said, "Of course I know the story, but have never actually read Charlotte's Web." It's such a good one, Megan. I think you'll love it. It's so, so good. And Megan also says, "Anne is the best for getting into scrapes. She's been reading a sporadic audio reread of the Anne books and just started Anne of Windy Poplars." That one is such a funny one. Anne's sense of humor just really shines through in Anne of Windy Poplars. So much love for Anne and Diana. Love this. Lori is here. Hello, Lori. Welcome. Mina, your daughter is so much like, and does she fall through roofs as well? So fun. Like Megan said, in such scrapes. Martha is saying that she really enjoyed the friendships in Emily of New Moon these past couple weeks and look forward to seeing how they progress as she gets older in future books. It's been a while since I read the Emily of New Moon books. I will have to revisit those. I remember enjoying them, but I haven't revisited them in a very long time, and I have to do that. So, okay, next on my list of iconic friendships, I have, of course, Betsy Tacy. So I just, and Tib, with Tib as well. But Betsy Tacy are like this. They're lovely. I'm showing you this one because I wanted to talk a little bit about Betsy's wedding. So Betsy and Tacy become friends when they're 5 years old in the book Betsy Tacy. And as they grow up, their friendship grows and deepens as well. In high school, Betsy finds some other friends as well to kind of complete her circle of friends. And that's like its whole thing too. Like that's a really fun and full picture of friendship. But I wanted to focus on the long lastingness of Betsy and Tacy. And this is Betsy's Wedding, which is the last book of the Betsy Tacy series. And even after Betsy and Tacy are both married, and they both have their own households, they're still getting together, and they are wanting to put together like a dinner party for their friend Tib. They're trying to introduce her to a young man, so that maybe she might be interested in getting married because they're all full of how fun it is with their new household establishments and their new husbands, and they want the same thing for their friend. And just the long lasting ness of Betsy and Tacy is beautiful. And here they are in their kitchen, in Tacy's kitchen, because Tacy is cooking dinner for this dinner party. And it says, Tacy was always a meticulous housekeeper. Betsy never ceased to marvel at it. There were daffodils and pussy willows on the living room table. The dining room waited in formal splendor. Hello, Tacy called from the kitchen. She was kneeling at the oven, gingerly drawing out a roasting pan. She lifted it to the top of the stove and transferred a plump, savory bird to a hot platter. Roast chicken, she remarked, covering it snugly, with and chocolate meringue pie are my company dinner. It's a great help, Betsy, to have one company dinner that you know how to make really well. I just loved that cozy, homey scene. She had it all set. She knew what she was going to make. Betsy came over to like be cozy in the kitchen. And it just reminded me of going over to a friend's house for dinner and popping on into the kitchen before, coming early, a little bit early because you're best of friends, and, sitting in the kitchen with her while she puts the finishing touches on everything and helping her bring everything out. And the length of time that they stayed good friends was just really beautiful. And in Betsy's Wedding, they're still good friends, even with having their own households and their own establishments. They're still getting together for dinner parties and talking about all the things. So Betsy and Tacy are next on my list of iconic friendships. Oh, Lori said that she just finished the 10 books this past week. So did you just finish Betsy's Wedding? Wasn't it marvelous? I loved Betsy's Wedding. It was one of my favorites, if not my whole favorite of the entire series. I liked the young ones as well when they were super young and innocent, and those were really sweet. But Betsy's Wedding is a little bit more kind of like a grown up one because they're grown up. So Megan is saying that she read the Betsy Tacy books for the first time in her 40s and really need to do a reread. They are so good. So me too, Megan. For the first time, I read them in my 40s as well a couple of years ago. And they wait for you. Like we say with all the books, how I missed them when I was young, I'll never know. Like they were totally would have been something I would have loved as a child. But I'm happy that I got to experience them as an adult. So, all right. What Laura says, could you believe how fast Tacy got married after she didn't want a boyfriend? I know. It was just so out of the blue. But honestly, I feel like Tacy's personality, it worked for her. It was one of those things where she had to be so certain, and she was so certain. And I thought that was lovely. It was really kind of out of the blue, like you said, so fast. But sometimes it just works that way, right? Mina says that she just downloaded a Betsy Tacy book. She's never read them either. You are in for a treat, Mina. They're so good. They are so good. Like I said, I read them all the way through in 2024. I read one a month and oh, just delightful. Um, so proud of yourself for finally reading them. Likewise, it was such a joy to be able to do that. Ashley said she just read the Betsy Tacy books for the first time as well with her girls. She loves them as well. I think that I found them first for my girls. And I also have had some lovely reading experiences together with them. I think one of my daughters blew through all of them herself, and I also went through them all myself too. Martha says you all are making me want to read them in your Do it, Martha. Do it. It's so good. Oh, see, another vote. Melissa says the loyal friendship of Betsy and Tacy is so beautiful. It really is. Their longevity, and the fact that Tacy is such a quiet personality anyway, but I think the fact that they're just so steadfast. They never lost that connection. And that's why I wanted to bring up Betsy's wedding because even to the end, they're still good friends and just so heartwarming. You've only found the first Betsy Tacy on audio. I wish they were all available to listen to. I haven't even tried to listen. I haven't even tried to look for them. Too bad that they didn't make more. I mean, look at all of us. We would totally listen to them. Lori says, girls, she's in her 60s and reading them for the first time. So, and they're just as good, right? They're just as good. Marilyn, Marilyn says she's in her 70s and she's going to have to give them a whirl. You guys, you have to do it and report back to us. Report back to us what you think because because they're so good. I'm looking over on Instagram really quick. Belle Bird Books says that she knows exactly what I am reading from, and she knows that quote. I think this was maybe from before, from the Charlotte's Web one. I think I didn't see it earlier, so I'm sorry if I didn't see if that was referring to the other one. But don't you just love it when you hear a quote that you know? Audio is Megan's favorite way to reread. I agree. I agree. I recently found a podcast that does audiobooks of all older titles, and I'm going to be sharing that with you. I'm not going to share it tonight because I'm going to get off track, but I'm going to be sharing that with you soon in one of our Bookish chats. So, all right, next on our list of iconic friendships, we're going to go. Wait a sec. I left my sticker on this. Well, I'm just gonna have to leave the sticker on it. I found it for $1 at a library book sale, if you can believe that. But we have to talk about Nancy Drew, right? The Nancy Drew stories. This is Applewood, Applewood, I think it's called. Applewood Books edition for Nancy Drew. So Nancy Drew had a few friends, but I think Bess and George were the iconic ones. So between the three of them, Nancy Drew and Bess and George. And this one, so these Applewood books, it has a glare, so I'm sorry. I found it for $1. Can you believe what? I mean, oh my goodness. But these Applewood books are reprints of the original editions. So Nancy Drew was originally published like in starting like late 1920s, early 1930s. And as her legacy continued, they kind of changed the stories to update them. So they used still, I think, mostly the same titles, but they updated some of the details in there to appeal to a modern audience in the 60s. And those are like the yellow covered ones. And then they redid them again, I think, in the maybe 90s or something to again change the kind of the modern feel of them to something a little bit more contemporary. And anyway, these particular ones are reprints of the original ones from the 1930s. And these are the Applewood books. And I picked out this one. This one, I believe, from what I can see in the forward, was the first one that featured George and Bess. And I wanted to read to you a little bit from the forward because it's called, and More About Nancy is the title of the foreword, and it was written by Mildred Wirt Benson, who was the author at the beginning of the Nancy Drew Mysteries. And she wrote it in 1994. And she kind of was kind of about how she reminiscing about how she wrote them and when she wrote them and kind of what the writing style was, and it was all very interesting. But here's one part in here that kind of stood out to me as I was reading this forward. And it says, in Shadow Ranch, which is the title of this particular book, readers are introduced to the supporting characters of the plump Bess Marvin and the boyish George Fane. Whatever became of early chums, I never knew. However, I assumed that syndicate owners selected Nancy's new friends to provide contrast. And I thought that was so interesting because if you read a few of the, I guess this is the fourth one, or I mean the fifth one. I'm so sorry. Let me see what she writes in here. Secrets of Shadow Ranch lists in the old ledger as the fifth volume of the series. So what it was she wrote under the pseudonym of Carolyn Keene. And this was a group of writers. So at the beginning, it was Mildred Wirt Benson, who was the original writer, and then it became somebody else, but it was always published under Carolyn Keene as the pen name. And Mildred Wirt Benson is saying that of the hers, this was the fifth um, title, and the syndicate was the publisher, basically, like the people who were putting it on, and they told the writers what to write. So it was very formulaic. It was very much like this has to have this plot point and it has to have this, like scene, or it's supposed to be raining, you have to have a rainy scene or something like that. And so she was just following their pattern, what they told her to do. And so that's why she says, I just assumed the syndicate owners selected Nancy's new friends to provide contrast. But did you ever wonder what happened to like Helen Corning, who was like her original friend? I liked Helen, and nobody ever knows what became of her. Even the author doesn't know what became of Helen. She just was out, and Bess and George were in. But Bess and George were the ones that had the longevity. They were the ones that were through, I think, most of the books, and they first appeared in Shadow Ranch, according to this forward. So I thought I would share that little tidbit with you. I thought that was just a fun little find. The introduction, I don't know if it's published anywhere else, but again, like I said, More About Nancy was the name of the essay. And it was really interesting to hear from from the author's perspective. About writing about these characters. Here's some of the original illustrations. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's Nancy rescuing Bess. This is a Western on horseback. Sorry for the glare of that, but Nancy and Bess and George, more iconic friendships here. So, oh, look at these. Oh, look at all your love for Nancy Drew. Um, Here we go. Let's see here. Megan is saying she loves Nancy Drew. She has her mom's set from the 50s. What a treasure. That's amazing. Marilyn says she read all the Nancy Drew back when she was a kid. Me too. Me too. Mina says she's never read Nancy Drew. Something to look forward to. Lori is collecting the first original 50 yellow books for her granddaughters. Oh, what a beautiful gift that would be. That's what it says. Even the author didn't know what happened to her. I liked Helen Corning. Do you guys remember Helen Corning? So I don't know. That's what it says in this. That's what she said in her essay. So I thought that was kind of a kind of a fun little tidbit. All right. So I have um three more to get through. So let's sorry, I'm dawdling over these. But we'll really quick talk about this one here, Jeeves and Wooster by PG Woodhouse. Good rollicking fun. So funny, so fun. Jeeves, of course, is the gentleman's gentleman, and Wooster is kind of like the bumbling you know, aristocrat that Jeeves has to kind of get out of all of the scrapes that he's in. And this is a whole series of books. I just picked this one, The Code of the Woosters. But depending on what you read, Jeeves is always having to get Wooster the out of trouble, or the scrapes that he's got in, almost like Anne, right? And just so fun and funny. So here's a picture on the back of this copy of PG Woodhouse. And just so fun. So I had to mention Jeeves and Booster as another iconic friendship that we can laugh through. Mina is saying, wasn't Nancy Drew written by multiple authors? Yes, she was. So Mildred Wirt Benson was the first author, but they all wrote under the name of Carolyn Keene. I can't remember the names of some of the authors, but through the years they would recruit different people to write these Nancy Drew mysteries. Some of the things in that forward that the original author was writing, she was churning out books like left and right. So I think these syndicates were kind of um, assigning tasks to different writers just to kind of churn them out so that there would be like the next installment. So I don't remember off the top of my head what the names of the other authors are, but yes, definitely written by multiple authors. Megan says that she hasn't read any PG Woodhouse yet, but she keeps meaning to. Some of them, they're so good. They're so good. There's one called Spring Fever, which is not a Jeeves and Booster, but something totally different that I really loved, and it might be good to read in the springtime. So Spring Fever is definitely a good one. But the Jeeves and Booster are always so much fun as well. So I've got to get back to those either. And the next one I have on my list of iconic friendships is Poirot and Hastings, which they are in so many books. I picked this one off the shelf at the library because I just had to show you what a beautiful copy it was. Isn't this cool? This is a Chiltern edition, and this one is Murder on the Links. But of course, Poirot and Hastings are in multiple books together. You can find so many of them. I just got this one out of the library because it caught my eye. And as I was looking over Agatha Christie's books, I thought, I think that my book friends will like to see this one because it's just such a pretty one. So Poirot and Hastings. Always a good duo to read about. There's a little bit of humor, not like it's not like Jeeves and Booster humor, but they kind of balance each other out. Poirot and Hastings just really balance each other out. So, and then lastly, I have for iconic friendships, I have along the same lines of Poirot and Hastings, I have Holmes and Watson, by the Complete Sherlock Holmes collection. So I found this at the library too. This is a brand new edition from 2025. And when I saw it, I was going to pick just like any old one off the shelf from the library to show to you guys. But when I saw that they had this, I was like, oh my goodness, I have got to show you guys this one. So this is from 2025. This is the Canterbury Classics edition. Look at this. Look at these end papers. How fun is this? Isn't it beautiful? And it's the complete collection, so it has all of the stories in it. It has the um full-length books, and then it also has the, I think, hold on, let me look again. I thought it said it had the short stories as well, but I'm looking at the table of oh yes, it does. It has all the short stories as well in within the books. And I thought, you know what? Everybody's going to want to love to see this beautiful cover. And look how thick it is too. It's so thick. But that is like the omnibus of everything. And there's a introduction and picture of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle as well. So nice. So nice. So if you like the short stories of Sherlock Holmes or if you like his full length ones, this is just wow. I was just really impressed. And I thought you guys have to see that one because when I think of iconic friendships, of course, Holmes and Watson, right? Holmes has the brain and Watson has the go, like he can write everything down, he can keep everything straight, and they just make such a wonderful pair, such a wonderful duo to work together. Can't have one without the other. So that was the last on my iconic friendship. So such a beautiful book, right, Ashley? It was so pretty. I was like, I have to share. I have to share. Um, Let's see what Lori is saying here. In her area with the thrift stores and used bookstores, we can hardly ever find any PG Woodhouse. Interesting. Huh. I wonder why. I wonder why. I don't know that I have ever. I think I did get one at a thrift store, but it was not around here. Marilyn says it's a beautiful book. She already has an old copy. Oh, I love vintage copies too, of the complete Sherlock Holmes from her husband's parents' house. That sounds like a treasure as well. That's awesome. Mina, Mina, that I pulled such a variety of books within the theme of friendship. I tell you what, Mina, I I had a lot more. It was I was like, tone it down, Beth. We don't have that much time on Thursday nights. I almost wanted to break it in two. So that is the last of my iconic friendships. But I did want to talk about just a couple other books that have friendship as a theme in them, that you've probably heard of one. I'm not sure about the other. Of course, I have to mention, and then a third, I have to mention Skating Shoes. I just finished this one in January, and it is about a friendship between two girls, Harriet and Lala, and how they both come together over a shared love of skating. And this was a really beautiful picture of friendship as well. I'm going to be writing my blog post on that one within the next couple days and posting it. So I will get to that as well. But what else? Oh, I'm going to show you this one here. So this is like a big, big book. It's not specifically on friendship, but have you guys ever heard of the Book of Virtues by William J. Bennett? This is like a reference book, but friendship is one of the virtues that he lists. And he has included, it's kind of like an anthology, and he has included some beautiful stories about friendship and some beautiful poems. And there was one that I wanted to read to you, this poem by Robert Frost called A Time to Talk. When a friend calls to me from the road and slows his horse to a meaning walk, I won't stand still and look around on all the hills I haven't hoed and shout from where I am, what is it? No, not as there is a time to talk. I thrust my hoe in the mellow ground, blade end up and 5 feet tall, and plod. I go up to the stone wall for a friendly visit. And I thought, how cool is that, right? There's a whole chapter on friendship in this book, with little excerpts and stories and short stories and poems. And I came across that one and I was like, think I'll have to share that. So that's a Robert Frost poem called A Time to Talk, and it's about making time for your friendships. Okay, two books that I'm going to tell you about that have friendship as a theme. The first one is Dear Mrs. Bird, which I'm sure you have heard about. This is by A.J. Pierce. There are actually 4 books in this series. And this one focuses on friendship. It's about Emmy Lake. So it's the Emmy Lake series. And she wants to be a serious journalist. And she ends up writing for like a Dear Abby kind of situation, and which wasn't what she had originally intended, but kind of what she fell into. But she has a dear friend, and this book focuses on a lot of things. It's set during World War II, but it focuses very much, in this book anyway, on the friendship between the two girls. And it's just such a lovely story about friendship, set, like I said, in journalism during World War II, during the Blitz in London. And yeah, it was so good. I have been meaning to read the next 3 books in this series, and I still haven't gotten to them yet, but they're on my list. AJ Pierce was on Meg's Reading Room podcast, and that was a fabulous interview. So if you haven't listened to Meg's Reading Room, where AJ Pierce was the guest, so good. Meg has had such wonderful episodes, but I really enjoyed that one. So I wanted to talk about that one. So we usually talk about like old-fashioned books here, but that is a newer book. And another newer book that I wanted to talk about that had friendship in it is one called Code Name Edelweiss. And this is by Stephanie Lansom. And this was such an interesting book. So this is about pre World War II. So it's not a World War II book per se, but it 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 tells the story of how Nazism tried to invade Hollywood during the 1930s and how there was kind of like a plot to get this kind of philosophy, the Nazi philosophy, into um, Hollywood, into the movies and all this. And this particular story, it's a fictional story, but it's based on a real life um, circumstance where a Jewish lawyer, I'll just read to you a little bit from the back. A Jewish lawyer, Leon Lewis, has watched Hitler's rise to power and increasing anti Semitism in America with growing alarm. He believes Nazi agents are working to seize control of Hollywood, the world's greatest propaganda machine. The trouble is, authorities scoff at his dire warnings. When Liesel loses her job at MGM, her only choice is to work with Leon Lewis and the mysterious Agent 13 to spy on her friends and neighbors in her German American community. What Lewis and his spies find is more chilling and more dangerous than any of them suspected. Codename Edelweiss is based on a true story unknown until recent years, how a lone Jewish lawyer and a handful of amateur spies discovered and foiled Adolf Hitler's plan to take over Hollywood. It was really interesting. Like I said, fictional book, but Liesel is a German American, and so she kind of uses her nationality to become a spy and kind of subvert what's going on in Hollywood. Anyway, the reason I bring it up for the friendship is she had a neighbor who was a friend, and because of her German roots, they became alienated because her friend was Jewish, and so they became alienated. And this because of of some of the things that were happening in the culture at the time. And so it kind of goes through how their friendship develops um, through this kind of background. And it was super interesting. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about this one. This one was a modern publication. Let me look at the copyright date because it's a newer one. 2023 is the copyright date, but it's a historical fiction, 1930s Hollywood. I did think that there was going to be like maybe like movie stars and stuff in there. There was not. It was not like that. It just was set in that one. So, all right, that's the last one I've got. I'm keeping you guys so long. I'm so sorry. So let's see. Let's go through Marilyn says that she loves my enthusiasm. Oh, I need to maybe tone down my my book stacks because I get so excited about them. She also said she loves skating shoes. Just such a beautiful picture of friendship. Yes, Megan, you should see how it ends. It's so good. Rebecca says that her parents used to read the Book of Virtues to them. She has it on her shelf, but never picking it up. So oh, I haven't have had it on my shelf for a really long time too, and I thought, you know, I'm just going to pull it out. So Megan says the last one sounds interesting. It was really interesting. It was really good. So okay, if you want to let me know what you're reading now, we will end our evening with what we are reading now. Last week, you guys, you convinced me to pick up the Talisman Ring, so I finished it in a couple days, I think. After you told me about it last Thursday, I was like, I have to do it. They told me to do it. I have to do it. I found it on my Libby app from the library and then the physical copy from the library as well. It was so funny. I was laughing out loud funny. So if you weren't aware, like I wasn't, I don't know how it skipped my radar. The Cozy Reader Book Club, which is hosted by YouTubers Jen from Jen's Reading Life and Rebecca from Rebecca's Literary Wanderings, hosts a monthly online book club that they call the Cozy Reader Book Club. And this year they are knocking it out of the park with the book selections. Last month it was Penny Plain. This month it is the Talisman Ring. I don't know what's next. I know they published the list. I can't remember what is next, but I have to tell you, this was excellent. You still have time to read it because I think their book club meeting isn't until not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And this is February's pick. This is a Georgette Heyer, which of course you all know that I love Georgette Heyer, and it's a Regency romance. So funny, so fun. I'm not going to go into all of the things about it because go over to Jen and Rebecca's channels and just come to the Cozy Reader Book Club yourself. I'm sure it's gonna be a blast to talk about it. I was laughing out loud. It was so funny. And of course there's sweet romances and dashing gentlemen and all the things. So good. So thank you to all of you who told me that I needed to jump on that and add it to my list. I totally added it to my list, and I was glad I did. So I'm so glad that you all said that to me. All right, let's see what you are reading now. Teresa said she's still reading The Willows in Winter and also Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. Jacqueline Woodson, I'm trying to remember. Can't rem I'm thinking about somebody else. I'm thinking about a different Jacqueline. Red at the Bone. I don't know this one. I feel like I've heard of it though, but I cannot remember what it is. Is it good, Teresa? Are you enjoying it? Megan says, doing slow reads of David Copperfield and Eat Like a Heroine. Oh, I was just looking at that book the other day. It's so good to dip and dip out of. Just a little snippets. Hoping to finish An Old-Fashioned Girl this weekend. Yup. And listening to The School at Thrush Green and of Windy Poplars and Ballet Shoes. Oh, what a lineup, Megan. This sounds amazing. Oh, so good. Hello, Aunt Eileen, reading Dear Debbie. I don't know that one either. Dear Debbie. Is that a good one? What's it about? Tell us, tell us, tell us. Martha says that she's reading The Reluctant Widow by Georgette Heyer. I picked it up too. As soon as I finished The Talisman Ring, I was like, I need more Georgette Heyer. I can't just stop. And I picked up The Reluctant Widow and started right in on that one as well. Lori is reading The Talisman Ring as well. So many people going to the Cozy Reader Book Club. Awesome. I love it. We're going to have such a good discussion over on Jen and Rebecca's um, book club because, oh, it was so good. Just finished Miracles on Maple Hill. I have been wanting to get to that one for like a couple years and I still haven't. There's so many books, right? So many books. Ashley is reading A Little Princess. Oh, that's such a good one. She just finished An Old-Fashioned Girl and The Talisman Ring. Loved both of them so much. An Old-Fashioned Girl has friendship in it as well. When we discuss that next week for Old-Fashioned Girl, we'll have to talk about the theme of friendship in there. I think it'll be so good. Mina said that she just finished The Talisman Ring. So good. Definitely. Rebecca says that she's reading The Venables by Kathleen Norris and loving it. Kathleen Norris is a new favorite author of hers. I have a couple Kathleen Norris over there that have been calling to me. I don't have this one, The Venables, but I'm looking forward to trying her for the first time. So it's just they look so good. The Kathleen Norris books do. Marilyn said she finished The Talisman Ring. Did we notice the word ejaculated instead of exclaimed? I just fell out loud laughing every time. It was a funny book. It was so funny. I'm not going to share the scene that made me laugh because I don't want to give you guys any spoilers for those of you who are reading it. But I hope we can talk about the scenes that made us laugh on Jen and Rebecca's book club because it was just so funny. And The Bookshop on the Corner by Jenny Colgan. Ooh, I love anything that has bookshop in the title. Marilyn is reading Maisie Dobbs 9. Ooh, you got far in the Maisie Dobbs. I'm still behind in that one. And Gilead by Marilyn Robinson. I read that years ago. That one was was kind of a gentler book, if I remember. Strong, but gentle is what I remember about that one. Teresa says that her book is good. It's a family story over a couple of generations. I like family stories. I like seeing those interactions. Oh, the Dear Debbie is by Frida McFadden. I just saw a video that said Frida McFadden was like one of the number one authors checked out of the library this past year, like this past calendar year. Her books are so popular, so popular. Marilyn is asking, "Do you like it?" She wants to read it as well. So she is obviously heard of that one. Mina says that she's rereading Little House on the Prairie. So random, but you were thinking, hey, if it's calling to you, it must be time for a reread. Oh, that's right. I knew the name. Brown Girl Dreaming. I knew that name. Brown Girl Dreaming is it young adult or maybe middle grade? In verse, a book in verse. I knew that name. Thank you for clarifying, Teresa, because I knew it, but I couldn't recall it. All right. Well, I think I have reached the end of your list. Thank you all so much for sharing what you are reading now. We get such good ideas from each other and so much fun discussion over what we're doing. So, I do want to remind you that we will not be here next week because next week I will be with my subscribers only discussing An Old-Fashioned Girl by Louisa May Alcott. So that is our book pick of our winter box. If you are a subscriber, you know, but if you're not a subscriber, I send out a quarterly book box, and each book box comes with an invitation to the discussion, to after we've read the book together, to kind of all come on Zoom and discuss the book together, what we loved, what we didn't love, the things we noticed, and we've been noticing some things about this book. So I'm really looking forward to discussing this with my book box subscribers next week. So, like I said, we won't be here on the public page next week, but 2 weeks from now, we of course will be back again. Um, yeah, I think we will look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, of course, I always send out a Sunday morning email, like a newsletter, keeping you updated as to what's going on at Small Home Comforts, all the links and shop updates and all the things. So get on the email list so you can stay current with all of that and you'll know what's going on. Yeah, until next time, happy reading, happy tea drinking. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's always such a pleasure to spend time with you, and I so appreciate you spending time with me. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Good night, all.